You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Welcome. We are broadcasting live from the mothership. You are tuned in and listening to Starseed Energy Radio with your host, Jonah Bolt. Starseed Energy Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Starseed Energy Radio goes live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in. You are now receiving a live transmission from Starseed Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. I'm your host, Jonah Bolt, the Octorian Starseed, and today is a beautiful Thursday here in sunny South Florida. It is November 19th, 2015. Hope everyone is having an amazing week out there. Lots of news and things happening all over the world. We focused on a very big issue yesterday. Today we're going to focus on another big issue. This issue is free energy. I have Dave Parker for the Free Energy Party joining us on the show today. But first, I want to give a shout out to StarseedRadio.com, where you can always find the latest news and updates. We have lots of feeds up there where we're always posting new articles and lots of things to share with your family and friends to get the truth and the word out about all different issues that we talk about here at Starseed Radio. As well as you can check out StarseedTechnologies.com. If you haven't received the free energy packet of information, we would love to send you about 15 PDF files filled with free energy information about what is free energy, how to make solar panels, earth batteries, all sorts of cool stuff in those files. So just fill out the form at StarseedTechnologies.com on the left-hand side. And you can also get a free piece of Elite Shungite, an amazing stone. Or you could call us anytime to get either the free energy stuff or your free piece of Elite Shungite at toll-free 888-400-2328. Also, don't forget we have our Synergy Oneness of the Elements webinar coming up this Sunday, or Starseed Summit this Sunday. The Synergy webinar is the following Sunday. So stay up to date at starseedradio.com with that flyer, as well as the Starseed Summit this Saturday. Check out portaltoascension.com for more information. And the last announcement, the one golden opportunity, to say the least, we've been talking about here at Starseed Radio for the last month or so. We did a special with a few gold directors, is StarseedGold.com, an amazing new way to save some of the world's purest gold, 99.9 bullion. Check out StarseedGold.com. You could sign up for a free gold savings account and start saving gold today. It's giving you the chance and opportunity to turn your fiat fake dollar currency into real money, into assets. It's an amazing program. I've been involved for about 2 months myself, and this company is currently doing business in 124 countries around the world. They have an amazing exchange system. Even here in Boca Raton, I can turn my gold in at several locations for goods and services. So they've come up with an amazing gold back and exchange system. Again, that website is starseedgold.com. Fill out the information, watch the videos, and contact me direct if you have any questions or comments about anything we're doing. Again, that's starseedgold.com. With that, we're going to get the show started with our daily quote. Whenever you are ready for manifesting your deserving soul, then the universe will help you to encounter with a like soul sooner or later. That quote by Daharishi Kumar Raj. Again, whenever you are ready for manifesting your deserving soul, then the universe will help you to encounter with a like soul sooner or later. Aho to that. If that is not truth, I don't know what is. Now we're going to get the show started with our very special guest joining us. We have Dave Parker from the Free Energy party. He was also involved in our synergy oneness of the elements, the fire element of energy. And he, like many others, believe in a similar vision and goal of allowing free energy to be manifested in the mainstream and around the world so that we can liberate the humankind from coal, oil, fracking, and all the other crap that they're using to power the planet. With that, we're going to welcome Mr. Dave Parker to the show. Good morning, Dave. How are you today?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming in nice and clear.
Well, cool.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us.
I want to compliment you for the wonderful work that you do for the entire world in working with free energy yourself. You're certainly dedicated and informed and intelligent, and you're doing so valuable a job. Great job, buddy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Dave, that, it takes a team of us to do what we're trying to do. And, a lot of times, I'm sure yourself, Dave, people say to me, take a step back and look at what you're trying to accomplish here. You're trying to change the world. And it's a big thing. We need a team. So you're part of that team, and I really look up to you and what you're doing with the Free Energy Party. And if you would, Dave, let's do a little background bio on you so the listeners can get a little familiar who you are, how you first came to the free energy sector, and then you can, roll into where we're at today. But give us a little background, your story, please.
Okay, well, can you ask me real specifically so I don't have to start when I came out of my mother?
Sure. So let me ask, when was the first time you heard about free energy itself and when it really piqued your interest? When did you first get into the free energy world?
From a pretty young age, I was trying to figure out the world. And so it's like asking Johnny Cash when he first started to play the guitar. It's real popular in the country world to say, well, as soon as I was born, there was a guitar beside the hospital bed. But my story, as laughable as it may sound, is similar. It's as if I was born for what I'm doing now. And so I don't know anybody that I've ever met that had more of a providential type feeling. Now, not to go too far and think that I'm somebody. I mean, we're all somebody. But I'm just telling you that from a very young age, I was trying to figure out the root of the problems in the world. And I started writing a book as a teenager called The Book That Ran for President. So I was always into collective ideas, not personality cult or, a bunch of self-aggrandizement or anything like that. I believe that the highest form of intelligence is when you can get other people to do it equally, whether the idea is bigger than the individual. And that's what we're trying to do. But it was from a very young age, and so my mother's the best testament that I began to collect information from a very young age. And if this incoming call I'm getting bumps us, let's just call back real quickly, okay?
Yeah, no problem. We're standing by.
Sometimes the incoming calls will bump us. But it all began to make sense when later I scored past the proverbial mark on government IQ testing. And then that kind of explained how come I was collecting information from a very young age to try to figure out how the world worked. So I built my first laboratory when I was, about 10 years old or younger, and I had a filing cabinet, and any time I would find out information, I would put in there. And so I had several filing systems over the course of my adulthood until one time it got so sophisticated. I had so much a collection of free energy and cures for diseases that my files were stolen. They were robbed because I had people that in the business community that came and I was showing them through these files. And at all of basically I had showed them that all these files were worth their history of things that had been bought out. Breakthroughs that don't break through are not really breakthroughs. And so Are you there? Or did you get bumped with that incoming
Oh,
call?
we're live.
Okay. So anyway, an example of that would be I had so I was getting material from all over the world. I learned because my mother was the owner of a barbershop, and she got all of these publications and didn't pay for them. They just wanted her customers in the barbershop to read these publications. And so I learned that I could order publications through my mother's barbershop and through many other outlets. And I learned that I could get, actually, someone could try to use this against me later, so I welcome them to it. But, we believe information should be free. And I also believe that we shouldn't rip anybody off. So where's the balance? And you're trying to, to find information. And so I would subscribe to publications from all around the world. They'll send them to you for like 3 months before they cut you off. And then I had like a rotating list where I was just getting material from all over the world, trying to figure out how the world works and what's going on. And so at a young age, then, I could see that it was a matter of pretty much the petrochemical cartel suppressing energy answers. Again, I'm getting incoming calls, so if we're bumped, then we know what happens.
Sure.
So in the meanwhile, my father was, his name was Joy Parker, and he was experimenting. He was a one-armed mechanic. And he was, because he was run over by a drunk driver when he was a baby. But he was experimenting with high mileage. And so I became a high mileage specialist from a young age, vaporizing fuel, since 60 to 70% of the fuel that you buy blows out the tailpipe into the sky. And it's what I call the vaporization cover-up. And all of these are things which are world problems are directly related to a free energy answer, as you embrace. And so you've got with the coal cover-up, just to throw it in to make sense of that, to prove my point, the coal cover-up is 3,000 cubic foot of natural gas and 1 barrel of oil are blown into the sky to maintain scarcity, rather than using the Lewis Carrick technique that was paid for by the Department of Mines, where you just heat that up for free, by the way, and it gets this oil and this natural gas out of the coal. And so all the people suffering and dying in Beijing and the 51% of cancers that we experience from breathing polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, unburned gasoline in the air is completely, criminally, irresponsibly unnecessary. And the same thing then with the volatiles, the aromatic hydrocarbons coming out the back end of the car. So when you add the oil that maintains scarcity, is because it could be put on the open market, that's blowing out the back of the car and that's blowing into the sky from the coal cover-up, those two cover-ups are responsible for over 98% of our pollution problem. And in the meanwhile, the Soros versus Coke, or Coach or Cock, however you say this guy's name, Cockroach or whatever. So
I like
yeah, exactly. So this paradigm has people positioned in an us versus them, blue against red team, opposite positioning over the climate, wherein no one actually addresses the cause of pollution or stops the cause of pollution. Even the chemtrails, it appears, are coal ash. That's why they're full of metals, because the coal is full of these various metals. And so they're like disposing of industrial chemicals the way they do with fluoride in the water. But back to the point regarding energy, the pollution is directly a cover-up in the energy market by dumping all of this gas and oil into the sky and pretending it's not there and getting the public to argue about the climate in a way that heads you lose, tails they win. So, for instance, if you're a Republican, it's just saying, we don't believe in getting in the way of these companies, get out of the way of these companies. And then the Republican at that moment, he's not mentioning that it's illegal restraint of enterprise, which the Republicans are supposed to believe in free enterprise, to squash free energy and to just take up for huge monopolies and let them destroy our climate when there's superior technology that we can show in court at Free Energy Party lawsuits is negligent ecocide and negligent homicide in the present, or genocide in the presence of proofs of free energy. In the presence of legal proofs of free energy, it becomes criminally negligent to go and wipe all the people out of a country for the oil in their economy, claiming that it's a strategic asset and that we have to do that to protect our lifestyle so that we have air conditioning. And so the Democrats, on the other hand, answer has always been just to become a partner with the criminal. In other words, with the tax, it's the name of it, windfall profits tax. It was saying that oil companies are just ripping you off, charging huge, huge amounts. And then so the Democrat says, okay, well, then we want to tax them. It's a lot like if you had a child porn ring and the Democrats said, okay, we'll stop this by taxing them. Now the Democrats are partners. They can't afford for the child porn to go away because it would cut down their income. And that's the same way it is with carbon credits. So now the Democrats have become partners with the polluters. So if they stop the pollution, then they stop making that tax income. And so no one in this process of the left versus the right has approached with the conversation, well, we have proof of free energy. Energy from a free source, by the way, of course, doesn't mean there's no free lunch argument, this whole argument. You know, we mean a source better than war over oil should be an ideal or an idea in someone's head, don't you think?
Yeah, thank you for clearing that up. That's a good point, Dave.
Yeah, and so if you've got free sources, then the argument should moves up a step on the rung, a rung on the ladder, and it becomes where, you know, people can argue, well, the sun is not free. Okay, all right, but that's a pretty hard argument to defend, and good luck with that, by the way, you know. And the waves are not free; they're going to just quit moving in a minute. If you didn't, you know, put energy into the ocean, you would not get anything out. Well, really, do you really think that? That's pretty foolish. How long do you think the earth will last? Why don't you contain your arguments to your lifespan and your children's lifespan? How about that? How about instead of acting like you know how old the earth is or how long it will last in some idealistic argument over perpetual motion, why don't you just agree, you know, to the idea that the electron is perpetual according to the conservation of energy and conservation of mass, which says that energy is neither created nor destroyed, it just changes shape, which means you just don't have an argument. Your entire interpretation of the second law of thermodynamics is wrong and designed to sell oil. You know, even people drilling oil wells, you know, they're saying, you can't, you know, that, and by the way, perpetual war over oil is okay. It's just perpetual energy that's not okay. And so let me reiterate that. But perpetual war, that's okay. So there's something wrong with that, isn't there? And so with people that drill an oil well, they want to say there's no free lunch. Well, isn't that what they get when they drill and find oil in the ground? They get way more energy out of the oil well than it takes to drill the oil well. Isn't that true? And so why? Because the oil was already there. We're not saying that it's something miraculously mystic, although there's nothing wrong with mystic. Mystic usually means that you're not God, and there's some things that you don't understand. And there's nothing wrong with that, is there? But when we say there's no free energy, that just means that you can't explain where the energy is coming from because you've been sold a bill of goods by the oil companies and the electric companies who are making a fortune telling you that every motor is inefficient. And boy, do they sell inefficient motors. You know, the interlocking directorates between the oil companies and the electric companies are right there on paper. Go to Mood, this $400 book, and open it, or get on the great Google and look around, and you'll see that the same people, as a matter of fact, Alan Greenspan, who in his book reported that war in the Middle East was over oil. He said, this is not popular for me to say, but he wanted to put some truth out there to sell a book, since now he had retired from his position as head of the Federal Reserve. Well, he happened to be on the Mobil Oil Board of Directors. People don't, by and large, know that. I discovered it by reading it in the big Moody's, looking at the interlocking directorates, you know, who that's like the head of McDonald's is on the board of director of Monsanto, et cetera, interlocking directorates, so that you see who's controlling the world and how it works. So are you still there? Have I lost you?
No, we are still here.
Excellent. So anyway, when we're looking at the arguments saying there's no free energy, it's because people misunderstand the arguments. They don't know that there's energy forms and energy sources that they were never taught in school. That even the school, just like doctors, don't have but 3 hours on the average of nutrition in their entire 8 years of medical school. And then the drug companies buy their textbooks. And the same thing takes place with the average public schools in America. The content of those textbooks is something that the Free Energy Party intends to change, so that they include proofs that are independent lab documented and undeniable, unequivocal proofs of free energy and energy, let's say new energy sources that have not heretofore been in the vested interest of the petrochemical cartel. And by the way, for people that don't know it, the petrochemical cartel, not to make a big aside here, is where 90% plus of all the chemicals for big death pharma, for the pharmaceuticals, which in the UK and the United States is the third leading cause of death. And so what about agriculture? Well, big death agriculture, like the extinction of agriculture, you know, Monsanto type agriculture, where you make seeds that won't work unless you like take a bath in Roundup, which grows breasts on men and causes sterility and breast cancer in women. And so these chemicals come from the petrochemical industry. And so there's where your biggest interlocking directorates are, those three things. And so the Free Energy Party embraces the sayings of both Socrates and Buckminster Fuller when they admonished us that don't just fight the enemy in a us versus them manner. Instead, set the new paradigm up. Just bypass that old thing, and everyone, instead of fighting endlessly, they'll just move into the new paradigm. And so to beat war over oil, we must introduce free energy. To beat big death pharma, we must introduce cures for diseases. As a people, as starseed children of the earth, we must rise up and spread the word and teach consciousness ascension, because they're surely teaching dumb and numb, and we want to teach awakening. And organic permaculture, or you might call it regenerative agriculture, to replace petrochemical farming, which is just the death of farming. They make money from, they being the big spooky them, right? We said the petrochemical monopoly is who we're referring to, not tinfoil hat talk, but the petrochemical monopoly is when I say they, is what I'm referring to. Make money from scarcity, like Nestle would like it if all the water was destroyed by fracking, then it would be a private, you know, ignoring that the world is 80% water, just like your body, or 78%, of course. And they've discovered that there's more water in the world than they ever dreamed. There are huge oceans under several tectonic plates that they've discovered and this kind of thing. But we have to be very careful because drilling for oil, there's no inspectors that can go down there and see if all those beautiful bodies of water are being polluted while they drill through them and things like this. So we have to sue, as well as demonstrating free technology as the first political party with a free energy platform. We have to sue against fracking. Fracking has increased the rate of earthquakes by 1,000%. Now that's a lot. How would you like to be 1,000% better looking? How would you like to be 1,000% more wealthy? That's a lot, and these are documented scientific figures. And while it's increasing the rate of earthquakes, it's destroying the actual freshwater supply available to humans. And it's so insane that Cheney walked it through the White House illegally, saying that, it doesn't hurt nothing, just pass it. Pass the EPA, called the Halliburton loophole. All illegal. All it takes is a lawsuit to shut those people down by the right people, you see? It's ecocide. Fracking is ecocide. And if you disagree with me, because maybe you're like my family who work for the oil companies, and I love my family, okay, allow me to say that it's legal to frack within 500 feet of a nuclear power plant. So things are a little out of control, don't you think? So free energy enters the picture.
Hang on right there, Dave. I'm glad you brought up the fracking issue. I think it's one of the dumbest things ever, whoever allowed it.
Good for you, John. Good for you.
It's the stupidest thing. We got to take a quick commercial break, so hang on right there with Dave Parker, Free Energy Party. You're listening to Starseed Radio. We'll be right back.
Jack Herod tried to tell us the news.
Exposing faux capitalism with Jason Erm. Saturday on Truth Frequency Radio.
Hello, citizens of America. We are anonymous, and we have been observing as your country's leaders have lied to you and placed your freedom and your constitutional rights into jeopardy. We are very disappointed about this, and we have decided to take steps against what you are facing. The world is watching America. We are also watching. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect.
All right, welcome back to the show. You're listening to Starseed Radio. Check out starseedradio.com for the latest news and updates, and also check out Starseed Technologies for some free energy information, as well as a free piece of elite shungite we've been giving out all year. It's an amazing quantum healing stone. And check out Starseed Gold to start stacking on your gold savings. Get away from the fiat, get into the gold. With that, we're joined by a very special guest, Mr. Dave Parker from the Free Energy Party, talking about free energy and also the issues and problems that we face globally as a oneness of humanity, which is why free energy is so needed and is so needed now. Talking about pollution, cancer rates, 1 in 2 males in America now has cancer, 1 in 3 females get cancer. I mean, it's totally out of control. Before we went to commercial break, Dave was explaining and talking about the fracking. Whoever even thought of piercing the Earth's crust is an idiot. I don't even know who started fracking, Dave. Maybe you do. But whoever even let them do that and allowed that and started the idea of fracking is just retarded. You're going to pierce the Earth's crust. Of course you're going to get earthquakes. Of course some magma is going to spew through one day. Of course some you-know-what's going to hit the fan if they continue to do that stupid stuff called fracking. So anyways, that's my rant. Welcome back to the show. And Dave, go ahead and continue where you're at. We left off on the fracking issue, which I myself cannot stand, and definitely support your talking on the fracking issue.
As you see the world, well, first, before I just jump right into the fracking issue, you're special, Jonah. Thank you for calling your guest special, but now the guest's calling you special.
Thanks.
So Anyway, I really appreciate your freedom-oriented rant. I don't even like to call things a rant. It sounds a little negative, but I think your oratory regarding fracking is much needed in the world. We need to be doing speeches around the country. We need to find young people and teach oratory to the youth. We need to give people hope in this nation. I just don't see much of that. And so thank you for giving people hope. And thank you for being a spokesperson for answers instead of ulcers and for hope instead of dope. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. You're doing great for yourself.
With regard to fracking, if we see that it is scarcity-based technology that is outmoded and that it's ecocidal impact, we know that we can file lawsuits showing that in the face of actual proofs of free energy. So in this whole specter, an elephant has entered the room that everyone is ignoring and they're trying to ignore. Let's move from fracking for a moment over to war over oil. Now look at the cost of destroying the natural water supplies of the world. I mean the impact, not the cost of doing it, you know. They probably do it at pretty low costs. Just, you know, blow people up and drill down in there. But look at the impact of it. It has to be estimated in trillions, not billions. You can't put a value on a clean water aquifer, and you can't put a value even on one single human life. I mean, we have technology. The elephant in the room is free energy that is unequivocally proven, and people say, oh, it's not proven, and that's their way to continue to ignore us. And the free energy is about showing the many forms of free energy that are actually proven. But let's look for a moment at what even the most staunch arguments have to admit is real. There are homes that can produce 4 times, and apartment buildings, 4 times or more the amount of energy than they use just from solar alone. Just by being built correctly and using solar alone. And so the energy of the waves alone can power the entire world. Concentrated solar is when you put mirrors in a satellite dish and have it pointed toward the middle, will reach 5,400 degrees F and melt a rock. With that technology, in the day only, you can generate hydrogen by taking steam and running a generator on steam, or you can run the steam over a heated up iron catalyst, which only has to be 1600 F. And that iron, and nickel helps too as a catalyst, will strip the oxygen off of the water molecule in the steam, and you get large volumes of hydrogen. That's how they fill the Hindenburg. And so you can fill huge tanks, and you can design the tanks safe that are explosion-proof. Or you could just be on demand. You could be running generators with free hydrogen, huge generators, selling power back up the grid with solar concentrated heat only. And you say, yes, yeah, but what about the nighttime when there's no sun? Well, if you heat up salt, molten salt, it is able to still contain that heat so well that it's able to still turn water into steam all through the night until the sun comes out again. And so the argument is a futile argument. It is well established and well proven that you can have free energy and get completely off of the grid with a satellite dish and mirrors and using an iron catalyst to make hydrogen, or either just running everything off of steam alone. And so what about exotic forms of free energy that allow people to pretend that free energy is not real by saying, well, that was a fraud or that doesn't work? A lot of it is not on purpose. A lot of people try to work with free energy, and then they promote themselves. They want the public to pitch in and help, And then it's hard for them to like admit that something doesn't work. We could talk about all those technologies and where they stand and try to be as kind and nice to these people as possible, because at least they're trying, maybe in a different show, because that's kind of a specialized tangent.
Sure.
But the fact that people are trying, they don't deserve to be beat to death and shamed when something does not work. And that's why the Free Energy Party only believes in independent lab documentations, because well-intending inventors come to us saying, we have something and it absolutely works. Then they'll show it to us and it looks like it works. Then we get with the head of the owner of the test lab that we work with, and he says, there's this anomaly where there's an instrument reading problem in this kind of testing. Just like when I just made a comment on the Facebook group page regarding the Mark House posting with regard to the Keshe demonstration. And I made the post in a kind and polite, not a mean, mocking way. And I said, to get any kind of respect, you need to test with a resistive load, not an inductive load, and you need to test over close to the load itself. So I'm trying to share what I've learned from the independent lab owner with the free energy community, so that we can have credibility and not have scientific people coming along and mocking us and slapping us about the ears. But it's wonderful for people to try. Even to try and fail is wonderful. But there are many technologies when people say, if they point their finger at something and say it doesn't work or it works questionably, like people are arguing, bless her heart, that Hope Moore wanted to open source the QEG, but now doesn't want to open source any evidence of over-unity or any tests of any over-unity, but people are still supposed to purchase something that they have no proof that it works.
That sounds similar to Keshe.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so it's the same thing. So we want to protect them for the sake that they're trying, but we kind of want to uphold the reasonable argument that you want to open source results and submit it right to independent lab documentation that's using a method that is not easy to argue with by the normal scientific world. And that's not hard to do. It's not hard to do, and there's several ways that you could do it. You could do it without even introducing a test instrument. You could just make it self-loop and tell everybody to stand back for 8 hours or whatever. And there's lots of ways that you can document energy phenomena that people will have a lot of trouble arguing with. But the fact that there are many types that have already been thoroughly documented is swept under the rug. So among the types of free energy that are exotic methods of free energy, because people right now, they argue with Qmogen types. They say, well, no, all of them are proven to be frauds. No. And then Tiwari, okay, well, in India, he's a former nuclear engineer. And a lot of these former nuclear-trained people get involved in free energy because they're studying these ions and the fact that if you can somehow copy some of this phenomena, and so it's not uncommon. But he has a model there which they're claiming is over unity, but the most stringent critics, like Simon on Revolution Green website, the most stringent critics who gave me an unexpected compliment and said I'm doing a good job now that I'm being so absolutely critical of testing methods and things like that. And it's because it's chess game. If you read through the site, they're bashing the dickens out of free energy while pretending to be interested in free energy. So, you know, we have people questioning whether they're paid money to be against free energy or not. But if they see somebody that is going to use independent lab documentation, they have to back down pretty quick. They don't want to look completely stupid. So it's very much in his advantage to say that I'm doing a good job now that I'm doing it in a way that is going to be impossible for anyone to argue with. But he's saying that Tawari's was never actually independently documented in a proper way. But Tawari is saying that everybody and their dog is in there documenting it. And so we want to work that up a little bit. We've got people that actually know him in India, and then we'll see if we can work that up a little bit and resolve this thing about Tawari. But that's a Q-mogen type, a motor powering a generator and getting over unity by avoiding the back EMF. And so another really incredible one was Joseph Newman. A lot of people came and documented it, but we don't even use him as an example on the Free Energy Party because he has a reputation of being so egocentric and being such a circus man. You know, step right up here, we're going to see the bearded lady, you know. And he was just such a self-promoter that we just kind of let that one alone. But when you listen through his video, which is like endless, you have to be really dedicated to get all the way through it, you see. He mentions what seems to be unequivocal independent proof of his technology. But the one that's the most fascinating is, to me, anyway, I need to say that, is the Edwin Gray technology, because at a time when the Patent Office required to document stuff in person whenever they wanted to knock it out of pocket, and they quit doing that. Stanley Myers was part of the reason they quit doing that too, because then when they bring in the best professionals and the best scientific labs to prove that you're a liar, and then they all prove that you're telling the truth, not only do they have to grant the patent, but now you have one of the best independent lab documentations that money can buy. And there's a series of other outside independent labs that Edwin Gray used, including the one that was owned by Bing Crosby. And so Bing Crosby became an investor after seeing unequivocal, inarguable proof. And the American Patent Lawyers Association awarded him the Inventor of the Year because of the elaborate proofs, independent lab proofs. And then California Governor Ronald Reagan gave him an award. The year was 1973. So there was absolute, impossible to argue with proof of free energy from a Q-mogen type device in 1973. So what happens to the free energy market right now? They say, well, prove it. And everybody's hurrying to prove something, but we're ignoring that it's already proven. We're ignoring that it's already proven. And so there are many technologies that are already proven by independent labs. Are you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. One of the most impressive ones, if you want me to go on talking about technologies, but we don't have to, is the Solar Reactor Corporation out of Miami that demonstrated the reaction between hydrogen and chlorine activated by light, and Champion spark plugs made a spark plug that only fired light. And many independent labs came along and documented this process. There was no exhaust in the system. Now, theoretically, you can do the same thing with hydrogen. The hydrogen explodes, and the exhaust is water. There's going to be some carbon dioxide, but I mean, not carbon dioxide, but some other gases. Actually, carbon is not involved in the hydrogen explosion. It's a non-carbon fuel. So if people that want to argue about carbon and carbon credits, this kind of thing, want to go to a non-carbon fuel, use water. It's right in front of you. And whenever it burns, it turns back into water again. So it's not gone. It doesn't go anywhere. And it purifies it too. It'll take out the fracking poisons and things like this. It's basically like distilling the water. So there's an endless amount of water, and people that act like that the water is going to vanish, No, the water doesn't go anywhere. It's recycled, recirculated, it's moved, it's transformed, but it doesn't disappear. All of the conservation of energy and conservation of matter. It doesn't go anywhere. So can you close off the exhaust by putting it back to the intake? Well, there's several people that have shown a hydrogen-run, HHO-run generator, because when you're splitting the water, oxygen is part of the component too. So for it to oxidize, it doesn't have to have ambient or exogenous outside oxygen source. So you've got right there in the water hydrogen, and you've got oxygen, and that's all it needs to explode. And so it explodes, turns back into water, and then can explode and turn back into water, and then can explode and turn back into water. And that's called like a closed cycle engine, so it's not open. Theoretically, when people talk about exhaust, it's a misnomer. Nothing is really exhausted. It's not really used up. It just changed form. And they call it exhaust, and they blow it into the sky, and then that way they keep the gas and oil off the market that's blown into the sky, keep prices high, and this kind of thing. So the Solar Reactor Corporation, though, with the hydrogen and the chlorine, you say, well, chlorine's toxic. Well, yes. So is table salt if you divide its components. Sodium is poison. Chloride is poison. Sodium chloride, whoop, that's table salt. So the ingredients for the Solar Reactor Corporation's demonstrator that had no exhaust, it just exploded, broke apart, remixed, exploded, broke apart, remixed, endlessly. You say, well, that's not possible. It's not possible. It's going to run out of energy. Oh, really? The source is seawater, salt water. Seawater. Is there any salt water to available to us? I hear the oceans are rising. So we need to desalinate it and drink it, and maybe we need to power a few motors off. But the Robert Scragg technology does not use up very much. And why? And how come it can keep exploding, breaking apart, and remixing in such a powerful way? Because it's a limited chain reaction. It is the second most powerful explosion under standard nuclear. It is 14 times more explosive than gasoline. Hydrogen itself, or HHO, which is just with the oxygen mixed in, that in the natural way that it's produced with two electrodes, a positive and a negative in a bucket of water. One's an anode, one's a cathode. Oxygen comes out one side, hydrogen comes out the other side. You mix them back together, they're HHO. It's also called Brown's gas, and it's miraculous. It can transmute in the equimolar proportion that it is formed as a gas. If you enjoin the hydrogen, two hydrogens, and the oxygen, the one oxygen, you join them together. A Hoffman apparatus is like a gizmo where you have them separated, and you run the hydrogen over to a fuel cell, and it is more efficient than running a motor. So we can power your house with hydrogen running a fuel cell with extreme efficiency, leaving the motor out of it. But back to the point. So you can have exotic gas properties out of this hydrogen, and if it's mixed in the way that it's produced, in an equimolar way that it's produced with the oxygen, HHO or Brown's gas will transmute or eliminate, and this is well proven. Assemblyman Dan Haley, if you Google him on the YouTube, showed, and it was also on the news, on the Today Show, and they showed documentation that you can transmute radiation, radioactive waste, all around Fukushima. If instead of draining the radioactive waste into the ocean, it had to go through a filter, then all those filters can be completely neutralized, and all of the radioactivity around there. And if you've got drones, don't kill women and children with them. Take them over to Fukushima and put a
Dave, you with us? I think we may have lost Dave. Dave, can you hear us? You may have had a call come in and drop. Not sure. Dave Parker with the Free Energy Party. If you do go to Google and Google the Free Energy Party or on Facebook, you'll find more information about Dave himself. As you can tell to all the listeners out there, Dave is quite intelligent in how he articulates not only the problems but also the solutions with a bit of sarcasm, which we love here at Starseed Radio, because you have to take everything a little bit with a grain of salt and make light of it the best you can, because it's so crazy with all the problems if you really look at how epic and crazy the issues and problems really are. You have to just sometimes laugh at it. So I love Dave when he comes from that stance on so many global serious issues to bring a little joy and laughter, and a bit of sarcasm is always delightful to hear, because it is sometimes the only way to look at some of these problems and issues, as we've been talking: fracking, oil, natural gas, radiation for Fukushima, things like that are totally out of control and not the way we need to live, or not the way we really need to be when it comes to energy and what energy can do for us, clean energy can do, and things like that. So Dave is also leading the Free Energy Party, which is a political party which stands for free energy, organic foods, and natural health care options rather than pharmaceutical drugs and things like that. So we also wish Dave lots of luck with the Free Energy Party. We do support that as well. I'm involved in a few different ways. And since we don't have Dave back live on the air, we'll try to get him back. I posted up some amazing articles, one of them from BBC, talking about how children have been introduced to meditation and classes. And it is an amazing, amazing story how the just everything has accelerated with their attention in school, their test scores, and things like that. So it's very interesting and also amazing to see schools implementing. And this also happened here in the U.S. They've done some experiments with meditation in class and things like that. So very interesting stuff. And here comes Dave.
Kind of amplifier.
Dave, are you back with us? There you are.
I'm back. Please forgive me. I had to go outside. I have a new cell phone. It's the nature of the beast. My old cell phone died for nothing. I'll tell you what it was. The car charger fried the battery.
Oh. We have about 2 minutes left, so if you would, Dave, give out some information about the Free Energy Party and where can people find more information on you.
Yeah, I wanted to summarize that we're working on all these technologies with really scientific people, and that the hydrogen chlorine tech, we're looking at it in a on-demand way so that there would be no storage of chlorine that could get burst open in a wreck if it was powering a car or a generator. Anyway, so if right now the website is down because it's being worked on, it's taken longer, it's been down longer than we want. But we want people to become involved. You can donate if you want, although we haven't been running any fundraisers because people are so critical of everything. You know, the millions of dollars can go into a campaign from corporations and monopolies, but if you want to crowdfund the first Free Energy Party with a platform, a tripod platform, the free energy and cures for diseases and organic permaculture, then everyone says, did you buy your helper a burger? You know, that was the big criticism people came at me with. I'm a vegetarian, but I took a worker and bought him a hamburger. Okay, and, so anyway, if you want to support us, you can go to the website, and it'll be up soon, and that's freeenergyparty.org. But go join the Facebook page. It's a closed group because we deal with attackers better that way. And so Jonah can help you figure out, because I'm going to be cut off.
The world. They have an amazing exchange system. Even here in Boca Raton, I can turn my gold in at several locations for goods and services. So they've come up with an amazing gold back and exchange system. Again, that website is starseedgold.com. Fill out the information, watch the videos, and contact me direct if you have any questions or comments about anything we're doing. Again, that's starseedgold.com. With that, we're going to get the show started with our daily quote, "Whenever you are ready for manifesting your deserving soul, then the universe will help you to encounter with a like soul sooner or later." That quote by Daharishi Kumar Raj. Again, whenever you are ready for manifesting your deserving soul, then the universe will help you to encounter with a like soul sooner or later. Aho to that. If that is not truth, I don't know what is. Now we're going to get the show started with our very special guest joining us. We have Dave Parker from the Free Energy Party. He was also involved in our Synergy Oneness of the Elements, the fire element of energy. And he, like many others, believe in a similar vision and goal of allowing free energy to be manifested in the mainstream and around the world so that we can liberate the humankind from coal, oil, fracking, and all the other crap that they're using to power the planet. With that, we're going to welcome Mr. Dave Parker to the show. Good morning, Dave. How are you today?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, yourcomologies.com. If you haven't received the free energy packet of information, we would love to send you about 15 PDF files filled with free energy information about what is free energy, how to make solar panels, earth batteries, all sorts of cool stuff in those files. So just fill out the form at starseedtechnologies.com on the left-hand side. And you can also get a free piece of Elite Shungite, an amazing stone. Or you could call us anytime to get either the free energy stuff or your free piece of Elite Shungite at toll-free 888-400-2328. Also, don't forget we have our Synergy Oneness of the Elements webinar coming up this Sunday, or Starseed Summit this Sunday. The Synergy webinar is the following Sunday. So stay up to date at starseedradio.com with that flyer, as well as the Starseed Summit this Saturday. Check out portaltoascension.com for more information. And the last announcement, the one golden opportunity, to say the least, we've been talking about here at Starseed Radio for the last month or so. We did a special with a few gold directors, is starseedgold.com, an amazing new way to save some of the world's purest gold, 99.9 bullion. Check out starseedgold.com. You could sign up for a free gold savings account and start saving gold today. It's giving you the chance and opportunity to turn your fiat fake dollar currency into real money, into assets. It's an amazing program. I've been involved for about 2 months myself, and this company is currently doing business in 124 countries around the world.
For what I'm doing now. And so I don't know anybody that I've ever met that had more of a providential type feeling. Now, not to go too far and think that I'm somebody. I mean, we're all somebody. But I'm just telling you that from a very young age, I was trying to figure out the root of the problems in the world. And I started writing a book as a teenager called The Book That Ran for President. So I was always into collective ideas, not personality cult or, a bunch of self-aggrandizement or anything like that. I believe that the highest form of intelligence is when you can get other people to do it equally, whether the idea is bigger than the individual. And that's what we're trying to do. But it was from a very young age, and so my mother's the best testament that I began to collect information from a very young age. And if this incoming call I'm getting bumps us, let's just call back real quickly, okay?
Yeah, no problem. We're
okay.
Standing by.
Sometimes the incoming calls will bump us. But it all began to make sense when later I scored past the proverbial mark on government IQ testing. And then that kind of explained how come I was collecting information from a very young age to try to figure out how the world worked. So I built my first laboratory when I was, about 10 years old or younger. And I had a filing cabinet, and anytime I would find out information, I would put in there.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Welcome. We are broadcasting live from the mothership. You are tuned in and listening to Starseed Energy Radio with your host, Jonah Bolt. Starseed Energy Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Starseed Energy Radio goes live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in. You are now receiving a live transmission from Starseed Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. I'm your host, Jonah Bolt, the Octorian Starseed, and today is a beautiful Thursday here in sunny South Florida. It is November 19th, 2015. Hope everyone is having an amazing week out there. Lots of news and things happening all over the world. We focused on a very big issue yesterday. Today we're going to focus on another big issue. This issue is free energy. I have Dave Parker for the Free Energy Party joining us on the show today. But first, I want to give a shout out to StarseedRadio.com, where you could always find the latest news and updates. We have lots of feeds up there where we're always posting new articles and lots of things to share with your family and friends to get the truth and the word out about all different issues that we talk about here at Starseed Radio. As well as you can check out Starseed Technology, nice and clear.
Well, cool.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us.
I want to compliment you for the wonderful work that you do for the entire world in working with free energy yourself. You're certainly dedicated and informed and intelligent, and you're doing so valuable a job. Great job, buddy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Dave, that, it takes a team of us to do what we're trying to do. And, a lot of times, I'm sure yourself, Dave, people say to me, take a step back and look at what you're trying to accomplish here. You're trying to change the world. And it's a big thing. We need a team. So you're part of that team, and I really look up to you and what you're doing with the Free Energy Party. And if you would, Dave, let's do a little background bio on you so the listeners can get a little familiar who you are, how you first came into the free energy sector, and then you can, roll into where we're at today. But give us a little background, your story, please.
Okay, well, can you ask me real specifically so I don't have to start when I came out of my mother's?
Sure. So let me ask, when was the first time you heard about free energy itself and when it really piqued your interest? When did you first get into the free energy world?
From a pretty young age, I was trying to figure out the world. And so it's like asking Johnny Cash when he first started to play the guitar. It's real popular in the country world to say, well, as soon as I was born, there was a guitar beside the hospital bed. But my story, as laughable as it may sound, is similar. It's as if I was born